Hi, everyone. Hi, Pratik. So let me share my screen. I hope you are able to hear me.
Yes, Bhaskar.
Okay. So later sometime I'll ask you someone like if any one of you share your screen, then I'll help you how we can set up the environment because you need to start doing the practice. So practice is important. So most of you started practicing, right? Or still need to start the practicing?
Yes, Bhaskar started.
Okay, good. Yeah, so let me continue on yesterday's session. Yesterday's session, we stopped talking about how we can read the data from the current day file. How we're going to read the data from the current day file that I'm going to show you. So then I'll ask you, like, if any one of you keep your credit card and if you ask me to share your screen, then I'll give a permission to share your screen. Then you can see, let's see how we can set up the environment because some people, there are new people are there. Let's spend 10 minutes with them to set up the environment so that everyone will be on the same page. Okay, so let me open the data factory first. Once I complete that particular task, I'll come back to that. Let's open a data factory. So we created a data factory with the name ADF Bhaskar 123. Let me open it and launch your data factory studio. In the other tab, let's go to the storage account also. Bhaskar made 01 ADLS is the storage account. Let's go to the containers, data files. Inside input folder, I have a files here. Okay, so now when you go to the data factory pipeline, we created a pipeline to get the current to date. We just stopped in that particular place. Let's load data from the current to date file. So in order to get the current today, we have used set variable activities to set the value for the variable. So we have seen how we can create a variable, right? We have seen how we can create a variable, and creating a variable we are going to come across for next few sessions continuously, and that is very, very important. And for every variable, we can set the expression to get the value dynamically. And this is going to set the file name with the date suffix. So date is there as part of the file name. So this file name is available in the variable. From this variable, we have to give it to copy activity. So copy activity is going to take this file name and it is going to bring the data from the source to target. So in order to do that, we have created this variable yesterday. Just debug it for time being. So with today's date, it is going to give the output here is customer underscore 03 20 This name of the file, I need to give it to copy activity. Let's bring the copy activity here. We already come across this copy activity and we are going to use this frequently for next 1 week. Let's connect here. I'll talk about what is this braces here. Like if you see, they are very this buttons plays a key role when you go for orchestration. Okay, so there is a one tick mark that is available here. This is on success. We are going to connect it. On success means on success of this activity, I wanted to start execution of this. So there is a other buttons also there. We'll talk about it at the time of exception handling. I'm going to talk about more in detail these buttons. Now I'm just giving the output of this or completion of on completion of this set variable activity. I wanted to execute copy activity. So we know that copy activity copies the data from the file system and copies the data from the database also. Now we are looking how we can do copying from the file system. So later this particular use case, we are going to start talking about how we can take the data from the database. Now let's come to the copy activity. Your copy activity is going to expect the source data set and sync data set. So this also we talked about it. We required source data set and we required sync data set. but your source data set is dynamic data set. Your file name is changing continuously. Okay, so if file name is not fixed because date is not fixed. So if something is changing continuously, then how you're going to make dynamic? So now we are going to see how we can create a dynamic data set. To create a dynamic data set, let's go to the data set. And link service is common. I'm not going to change the link service. Let's go to the data sets, a new data set. What is your source? Your source is Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2, right? So I'm just going to take ADLS Gen 2. 99% we're going to use ADLS Gen 2. Let's continue. My file is a delimited text file, so I'm just taking delimited. We'll come across most of the options that I'm going to take you through. Hit on continue. Now the data set name, I'm just going to give ds underscore. My file is available inside the data files container. And inside that I have an input folder. I'm just giving a generic naming standard. So in real time, how we are going to give it at the time of project, I'll take you through the naming standard, how we are using in my current project. So it's company to company or project to project. The naming standard may varies slightly, but you can feel that what naming standard is suitable for us. And then the name of the file, I'm just taking dynamically to represent that dynamically. I'm just going to say file name. So file name indicates here, you can have any name for understanding purpose. For demo purpose, I'm taking a file name. So this file name may be employee underscore some date or customer underscore some date, whatever it is. I wanted to take this as a dynamic. So to represent that, I'm just taking a file name. And then link service is required. We know how we can create a link service. Let's take the link service. And my file is available in the data files. You can browse it. Browse the file name, input, and you can take the file name, but I'm not going to take the file name because I wanted to pass this file name dynamically. Okay, so I wanted to pass this file name dynamically. So if you want to pass the file name dynamically, then we don't need to specify the name of the file. 99% we are going to take dynamically in real time. We don't pass the file names because there will be too many file names. If you start creating a data set for every file name, there will be hundreds of file names, hundreds of data sets. We're always going to create a dynamic data set. If I'm taking a data from the ADLS, I used to have only one data set for ADLS. And for source is one data set and for target also one data set. Okay, so if you ask me, there will be only one data set that I can use it for source and I can use it for target. Okay, so it will go little up, but this is too early to talk about it. Let's start with the file name. Then we'll start with the folder. Then we'll start with the container. Okay, so now I'm just going to leave this one. I'm not pointing to anything. Since I'm having a CSV files, I'm just going to say my first row is a header. And I don't need a schema since we're doing a data ingestion. We're not talking to the data. Then we don't need to have a schemas. So I'm just going to say none. Let's select this none and hit OK. Once you have created a data set, just observe, I'm there with the data set. I'm there with the data set. And once you select the data set from the data sets folder, then you can see the data set properties here. So this is important from here, very important. Whatever we have seen till yesterday, they're just basics. Now from here, the main things are going to be started. Okay,
Bhaskar,
yeah.
I just missed it. Did you check the row header?
Yes, it was checked.
Okay.
It was checked. Even if it is missed, even if it is missed, later also you can check from here. Okay, so that properties we're having it. So let's concentrate on here. Every data set is having three properties here: connection, schema, and parameters. So schema property options here, you can connection properties options you can see here. And if I select schema, then you can see schema options. I don't need the schema for this. because you're just dumping it. So when you wanted to dump it, we don't need a schema. You just leave it. And parameters, what you can do with the parameters, we're going to see. Now I wanted to pass this file name. I wanted to pass this file name dynamically. From where you're taking the file name? From the data factory pipeline you're taking, right? We created a pipeline. I mean to say, in the pipeline, if you remember, we have used here set variable activity. So that means file name is available in the data factory, or file name is available in the pipeline. You're getting my point, right? Your data set is this one, and this particular pipeline is having the name of the pipeline. So you have to bring this name of the pipeline into this data set. You have to bring the name of the file from the pipeline to data set. So how can we bring it? That is the question. So to bring it, we have to use data set parameters. You have to use data set parameters. When the moment you have a data set parameters, let me create it. And once you have a data set parameters, that parameters are going to be used as part of the pipeline. So how can we create a data set? We are creating a parameter at data set level. So variables can be created only at the pipeline level, but when it comes to the parameters, we have a different layers are there to create a parameters. Now we are just touching the first option, that is data set level. I'm going to create a parameter now at the data set level. Let me hit on new. The name of the parameter, I'm saying, I wanted to say parameter prefix p underscore. For what reason you are creating this parameter? To get the file name. Let's say file underscore name. So my data set parameter is p underscore file underscore name. And once you have created this parameter will take the value from the pipeline, and this value we have to give it to connection, right? You have to use that parameter here. So you created a parameter here to get the value from the pipeline. Once you get it, that value you have to give it to data set. So that means your file path is required the name of the file name. So if you don't have the name of the file name, then you cannot copy it. So your parameter will get it from the pipeline and will give it to the data set. Now I'm just going to take that. How can we take it is, you can see there is a add dynamic content. So hit on add dynamic content. Then you can find there is a parameter name. You just select it. Now, how do you know that is a data set parameter is? You're going to have dataset dot parameter name. So when the moment to say this expression dataset dot parameter, then keep in mind that is dataset parameter, because parameter will be created at the dataset level. Parameter will be created at the pipeline level also. And global parameter also is there. We'll talk about when we are going to use the global parameter across all the pipelines. We are going to use it. But at this point of time, we just touched how we can create a parameter at the dataset level. Now let me hit on OK. You got my point, right? Any question as of now?
No, Bhaskar.
Okay, perfect. Now the same thing I wanted to do it for target also. Same to same, no change. Only the changes, it is going to change this part. My target also is a CSV. So only I'm going to have a here output directory. Rest of everything is same. So if everything is same, then can we go for replication of this data set? Can we reuse this? Can you confirm?
We already have another data set with output.
That's fine. Okay, so I can also use that, but I wanted to go with parameterize.
We can clone it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So now I'm just going to clone this.
Okay. Then we can
Clone it. And here I'm just going to say to differentiate, I'm just giving a output and file name. And what need to change? Only one change, that is output. Rest of everything is same. I can reuse the parameter. I can reuse everything. Now my source data set is ready and target data set is ready. Let's go to my pipeline now. We're already having the name of the file here. So what you have to do is you have to select the data set for your source for copy data activity. So what is the data set here? Input file name is your source data set. So when the moment to take the data set input file name, your data set is having a parameter, automatically that parameter name is coming into your data set properties. If I take other data set, just observe input customer, this is not having a parameter, so it is not getting it. But when I take this file name, input file name, now I can see there is a parameter is popping. Now here you have to give the name of the file. Okay, so I can enter the name of the file, but it is a static. I wanted to make it dynamic. You just use add dynamic content. My file name is available in the variable. My file name is available in the variable. So I'm just going to take the variable here. So variable declaration, you can say at variables and the name of the variable. So this is how you can do it. Or if they ask how can you define the, or how can you write an expression for variable, you can say at variables, and inside that you can specify the name of the variable, or you can give this navigation. So you can say that when you're writing an expression, we will be having a variable section. From there, you can choose whatever the variable that you required, because you may not remember the syntax. But approach is important. Let me hit on OK. Now your file name is going to be available here from this set variable, and that will be given into the data set to copy it. Now let's go to the sync. The sync also is going to be happen in the same way. The sync is output file name. My file name is again is there in the variable only. Just take it from the variable. Hit OK. Is everyone with me?
Bhaskar, I have one question. For output, why we need to pass a variable? We are just
You can give it a folder also.
yeah.
Okay, folder also we can give it because it is just dumping only, right?
Yeah.
So we can give only output folder also. So I wanted to make much more comfortable with dynamic approach. So I'm just concentrating on both the side.
Okay.
Because in the target in the future, we require to make it dynamic. Like if we go for database, table names are going to change. So there you have to give the name of the table. So I started feeding from here itself.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So one doubt, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, you have not created the variable. Right?
No, yesterday we created a variable, right? Did you remember?
Okay, sir. Okay.
That is yesterday we stopped in this place.
Yes, sir. To get the data.
Yeah, I'm continuing from there only.
Okay. Okay. Same variable you are using.
Yeah. Yes. Same variable.
Okay.
Now, if I start this one, first you need to set up the source. Is my source is ready or not? There are other files are there. I'm just going to upload those files. Yesterday we just changed the name of the files, right? I think it is not having multiple files. Let me give one of them. I'm just going to take it as a 20. Now let's upload. Let's duplicate this tab. I wanted to keep one in input and the other is in output. So let me take out everything from the output so that you don't feel like when you go for validation, it will be easy. So at the time of development, you can remove and you can do however you want. Now my output directory is empty. When I run it, it has to load only current day file, that is 03/20/2025.csv. I'm just debugging my pipeline. Let's debug it. So when you see this set variable activity output, the name of the file is giving here. That file name will be given to copy data activity. In the input, you cannot see, but if you go to the output, you can see the file reads. How many files are read? One file. How many files are written? One file. So you can see here. So files read, files written. And data read, 182 bytes. Read data written, 182 bytes. So only in the form of bytes only it is going to show you. It will never show the number of records here. Okay, so number of records, it will be little different. Okay.
Does it show which file it read?
We can see that also. Okay, we'll see that. How can we get to know what file it is? Okay, so but here it will not show. It will not show here what is the name of the file, but we can get in the log. Okay, so not even here, I don't think. Let me check in the source. I mean in the input. Input also it is not showing here. But we can capture those details if you wanted to get it. Like there is a source. In the source side, there is a additional columns. You can use this additional columns to see what is the name of the file. Let's say file path. If you wanted to get it, you can see that. Okay, in that way we can do it. For time being, let's leave it. I'm just going to talk this as part of the interview. Now just validate it. When I refresh it, now I'm able to see the current day file. Only current day file it is having customer underscore 03 2025. So this is how we need to dynamic it. We need to create a dynamic data set. So if I wanted to save these changes, once you feel everything is fine here, then you can just publish it for time being. But we are going to start talking about a repository in between Data Factory live mode and our development. We are going to have a repository. So that is very important. Okay, so I don't want to go at this point of time because you have to face some issues, you have to fix that issues. Okay, so we'll see that. Now, before going to the next session, I mean to say next topic, how can we read the data from the database? If anyone wants to create a subscription, if you can share your subscription, if you can share your screen, then I'll help you to set up the subscription. Anyone wants to share the screen? Bharat, do you want to share? Ashok. So you need to talk. Okay, you need to unmute
Yeah,
and you need to
yeah,
talk. Then
yeah.
only other
Thank
people
you.
can understand.
Thank you, Bhaskar.
Yeah, please.
So I need to want the subscription.
Okay, let me start my screen. Can you share your screen?
Yep.
So practice is important, guys. From now,
Right.
at least everyone has to do practice.
Right.
Can you create a outlook.live.com? So Outlook account is required. That means Microsoft account is required. Outlook.live.com.
So you only want a Outlook.com or any Microsoft account will do.
Any Microsoft account is fine.
Okay. So Bhaskar, here I have my Yahoo.com registered as a Microsoft account.
No. Let's go with everything as a new, so that
Okay.
others also can follow the same thing. Just
So
open
usually,
in incognito window. Can you open it in incognito window?
just a moment here. Okay.
Outlook.live.com. Create free account. You can give some account name. Next. Can you try some other? You can create a password and remember it. So everyone has to create a Outlook account, then only can go for subscription. Not required. Next.
This is I remove, na?
Yeah, that is fine. Just give first name and last name.
I have created the same way, Bhaskar.
Yeah, welcome. And give your country and DOB. I think, Kusles, we are having some other issue. I'll connect after this session.
Okay.
Solve puzzle. Just give a directions. Yeah, next. So this is how we need to create a first Outlook account.
Okay.
Yes. And open one more tab, next tab. And then go to portal.azure.com. So from the portal.azure.com, we are going to create a subscription. Portal.azure.com, hit enter. And use the same mail ID that you have created just now.
Okay, now, Bhaskar, the question is, we have created the Outlook account only to log in for, only to subscribe for Azure?
Yes.
Okay. Because this account, Yahoo account, it works with Azure portal.
No, you want to create a subscription right now?
Okay.
Use this account only.
Yeah, 7 Thurat .com. Next.
Now you're there inside the portal. Okay.
This is maybe later.
Yeah, maybe later. Yeah. Now there is a start subscription. Hit on start. First, this one. Hit on it. And try for free. Come little down. And you can give a company name, anything that you can give. Before that, 1 minute, you have to validate your phone. There is a phone number. Just enter your phone number and validate it. And text you can take a text. So enter the verification code. So people will not do this. If you don't do this, then it is not going to work. So you have to validate your phone before subscription. And you can give address line 1, anything. And city, state. A little come down. You can check those check boxes, nothing happens. Next. So if this is validated, then only can go for entering card details.
Okay.
You have not used that credit card, right? What are the card details you're going to enter now?
You have to use a credit card here?
You have not used it previously. I mean, for Azure subscription.
I'm not sure. Okay, let me check.
Okay, wait, it will come. Yeah. So you have to enter the card. Just hold on it. Do not show that card numbers and all. So here, what you have to enter is holder name, card number, and expiries, CVV, and so on. So once you enter all these details, if it is like, you have to validate again here also whether you're a right person or not. So 2 rupees or something is going to be deducted from your account to authenticate you're a right person. Okay, so once you're done this, then subscription will be done. You got my point, right, everyone? Is
Yes.
everyone fine with that? Because
Yeah.
I don't want to ask him to save the card details and all here. So I'm just going to take the screen from me.
Okay.
Yeah, Bhaskar.
Okay, so if still anyone is facing an issue, you can ping me personally. I'll connect. Tomorrow I will be available. Tomorrow I'm going to do work from home. So you can connect with me. I'll help you on it. One-to-one, I'll connect and I'll make you help. Okay. Is that fine?
Okay, Bhaskar.
Okay, then I'm taking screen. Okay, so now I wanted to read the data from database. If I wanted to read the data from the database, what we required? So the required services that I'm just going to say here, I'm going to reiterate everything, a brand new development from this particular place, so that you people can feel, even if someone joined as a new, you can easily understand. So in order to read the data from the database, and your target is Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2, the required services is Azure Data Factory is required. And the second is, I'm going to take a Azure SQL Server. Azure SQL Server, I'm going to take it. The third is ADLS Gen 2, I'm going to use it. So these 3 services are required in order to explain this particular use case. So I'm taking for time being Azure SQL Server. Later, most of the time, I'm going to take an on-prem SQL Server. And how we can install on-prem SQL Server, I'll save the recording session. You just go through that to install on-prem SQL Server for tomorrow's session. Because we're going to say how we can do the incremental loading, how we can do the full loading, how we can control it. So later some time we're going to spend with the SQL on-prem SQL Server to reduce the cost. Either you can use this one or you can use this one if you're not able to install in your system for some reason, because on-prem SQL Server supports only Windows operating system. If you have some other operating system, I recommend you to use the Azure SQL Server itself for practicing. Okay, so for doing all this setup, whatever the sources I'm having at this point of time, I'm just going to remove everything and I'm going to recreate everything. Just keeping everyone in mute. Now let's go to home, a resource group. I created a resource group.
But your
with
screen is not
RJ.
sharing.
Is not sharing?
Yeah, I can see.
Yes.
Ashok, can you stop your screen, Ashok? Can you stop? Yeah. You can see my screen now. So whatever is there inside this resource group, I'm just going to take out it. Basically, I recommend you to take out the resource group. When you're stopping a practice for a long time, I recommend to stop it so that you can reduce the cost. Basically, I used to do it. There are many resource group. I need to clean them so that we can reduce the cost, especially when you're practice. Even if you keep all the resources, that is not going to impact much more billing. So I think for this month, I got around 1,500 because multiple people are using my account. So let me remove this. I'm going to create all brand new resources. So when you wanted to practice, you just feel that this is the first day session, how you're going to start doing this practice. In order to do my exercise or use case, I required Azure Data Factory. So I'm going to set up the Azure Data Factory, Azure SQL Server, and Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. So these 3 services are required. If I wanted to create a SQL Server, first I'm going to take SQL Server. You can take a SQL Server or Azure SQL, anything that is fine, or SQL database also you can take it. I'm just taking a SQL databases.
What is the difference? Bhaskar SQL database, Azure SQL, yeah, SQL Server.
Both are same only. Basically, if you go with Azure SQL, you can see all together. I mean, managed instance, you can see. Let me show you that. Azure SQL. If I hit on create, you can see these options. If I wanted to create a managed instance, you can also directly search for managed instance, or you can just for Azure SQL, then you can create a SQL managed instance. So Microsoft SQL is providing 3 flavors. If you wanted to create a database in Azure, then we have a 3 flavors here. So the first flavor is the single database. Most of the times we are going to use this. And there is a SQL managed instance is available. If I have a on-prem SQL server, if they wanted to lift and shift this on-prem SQL server to cloud, then they used to go with the managed SQL instance. So mostly it is more or less same to same it is. If you have a lift and shift mechanism, if your requirement is demanding to lift and shift your database, then we are going to use this SQL managed instance. And we are not responsible for that. So database administrators will be there. They will take care about how they're going to lift and shift it. We are not going to worry about it. And other flavor is we are having the same SQL server. You can also be there in a virtual machine. So I wanted to control my operating system. Here, you do not have any control on the operating system. But when it comes to here, the same SQL server you can also bring into this place. Like this is like on-prem only. Only thing is you are having infrastructure in the cloud. You don't feel any differences. You'll be having operating system. You'll be having everything. And if there is any upgrade in the software, that is your responsibility to take care. Now, presently we have a 2022, right? SQL Server. Okay, so if there is a new version, then you can go for a new version that you have to responsible. You're responsible. But here it is a managed instance. So since it is a managed instance, or since it is a managed service, automatically it will be upgraded. And this is also is a managed service only. So managed by Microsoft only. So that means that will be upgrade will be taken care by your Microsoft itself. But when it comes to here, why people used to go for this kind of things is, if they have a 2012 version or 2016 version, if they're already having some applications running, and if they're not interested to upgrade their system, and if they're not interested to stay with the on-prem, then definitely they can go for SQL virtual machine. So they can keep the SQL server with the same version in the virtual machine. So for that kind of use cases, people used to go for SQL virtual machines. You got my point, right? You will be having OS control. Okay, so we are not going to come across this kind of things because we are not required to know about it. Our responsibility is how can you read the data from database? That is our responsibility. So if you want to read the data from here, we require server name and we require database name. That is more enough. And even if I wanted to read data from here, the same thing, server name is required and DB name is required. Wherever you go and read the data from the database, these two are mandatory. Whether it is a SQL Server or Oracle or Snowflake, anything it is. We require source details. We don't care where it is hosted. You got my point, right? As a data engineer, what we are going to do it. So if they ask in the interview what flavors or what deployment options are provided by Microsoft Azure for database, you can say we have a SQL databases and SQL managed instances and SQL virtual machines. The knowledge they will expect. They will not expect did you work with the managed instance. You may work, you may took this as a data source. So in my current project, we are using managed instance as a data source. Java SQL servers and the managed instance. It all depends. In my previous project, Oracle system is the data source for my data sources. And target is ADLS. For everywhere, target is ADLS only, mostly. Okay. Now let me show you how can we create a SQL database.
So this one is on-premise, sir, SQL databases, first one.
Everything, whatever you're doing with the portal, that is a cloud.
Cloud, okay, sir.
Okay. Now I'm going to create single database. I took it from Azure SQL. You can see here navigation, Azure SQL, and select SQL deployment option here. A single database I've taken. And subscription you have to take. Whenever you're going to take any service from the Microsoft Azure, subscription is required. And then I'm going to create a new resource group here. Bhaskar - dev. It's already available. Let's say Master Azure Data Engineering 001-dev. I'm taking it. Some naming standard you can take it. Let me hit OK. And then resource group is created. A resource group is a container. Okay, so all this setup in general, in real time, we are not going to be responsible. For practicing, you need to have a resource group because you have to keep this resource in a bundle. Our resource group we need to keep in a bucket. So that bucket name is your resource group. So collection of resources is nothing but a resource group. And then I'm just going to give the name of the database here. My database name, as per this note, I'm just going to take it. My database name is source. So I'm just going to take the name of the database is a source. Source is my database name. Any name that you can give it for practicing. And whenever you're going to take the database, you have to keep the database in the server. Server is required. Inside the server, you can have a multiple databases. Okay, so I need to have a server. So server we need to set up. For server, no cost. No cost for server. Only for database only, they're going to take a charge from the Microsoft. Cost is there for this. So you need to take a minimum configuration for the database so that you can reduce the cost. Do not take a different pricing tier. Whatever I'm going to take for practicing for educational purpose, you just take the same thing. Okay, so at the time of interview sessions, I'm going to talk about what kind of pricing tiers I came across in my experience. I'll talk about it. So at this point of time, I'm just going to create a server. My server name is Bhaskar SQL. If it is available, it is fine. Now Bhaskar SQL is available. I'm just taking. This is the name of the server you can take. So server name .database.windows.net. If you see the name of the server database.windows.net, make sure that is a Azure SQL server. As simple as that. If it is on-prem, you're not going to have this. You're going to have a normal server name. Okay, so or you can have an IP address also. You can take an IP address or you can take a name for your server name. Okay, so in this particular case, I'm just entering the server name, what server name I required, and from which location or from which location you wanted to take the database, your database location, server location, and data factory location. For all these services, I'm going to take a one location only, so that we can reduce the cost. Even in the real time also, you're going to have in a similar approach. I'm there in the nearest location with the Central India. So I'm just going to take Central India is my nearest location. You also take the same thing. And then I'm just taking a SQL authentication. Okay, so authentication will be provided. And mostly we're going to use Microsoft Entra authentication, MFA. Okay, so it's all depends on the authentication mode that we are going to take it. And some people, they may have both SQL as well as Microsoft Entra authentication. So this Microsoft Entra is previously is Active Directory, Microsoft Active Directory. Now is treated as Microsoft Entra. And I'm taking a SQL authentication, and for every database, or not for database, I can say for every server, you need to have an administrator, whether it is on-prem or cloud, whatever it is. When you have a databases, for databases are going to host it on the server, and server is required administrator. At least one administrator is required at the time of setting up. So I'm going to give the administrator here. So administrator is different and users are different. Administrator is going to create a multiple developers, and he is responsible to give the access, depends on the rule. So that is not our job at this point of time. Of course, we are not related to database administrators, and we are just going to ask them, can you give the access to my account? If someone is going to ask you to pull the data from somewhere, if you don't have access, you have to request them to give access. Okay, so it depends on the company. You may have a different approaches to raise the access. Okay, so you may raise the request. Okay, so it's all depends. You can feel that. Okay, company to company it varies. So now I'm just going to take the username. So Bhaskar is the administrator for this server. And I'm just providing the password and confirming the password. Everyone knows how we can set up the password. So number, text, special character, just follow them. Let's hit OK. Now server setup is done. Once the server setup is done, there is a development. You have to choose the development to reduce the cost. Okay, so after development, I have to go for compute and storage. This is very important because frequently we are going to take the database. If you go with the same standard series, the cost will be more. If you're ready to pay, you can go. Only as an individual, you're going to do practice. This is not much more required because you have to pay a lot. Let's go for basic pricing tier. So I'm going to take the basic purchasing model here. That is basic for less demanding workloads for educational purpose and POC projects point of view. You can choose this basic. Whatever I'm just doing, we just do the same thing because we are not here to know about complete database things because we're not a database developers and we're not a database administrators. Only this particular things completely end to end to know only for database administrators, not even for database developers. Let's apply. And we are purely data engineers. We don't need to know all those things. And just leave this redundancy as it is default and let's go to the next. In the next place, if it is a real time, basically, we are going to have a private endpoints to connect it. So that will be taken care by network administrators and database administrators, both together. They will work together and set it up. So in our case for practicing, I'm going to take a public endpoint. Okay, so if your IP address is whitelisted, then you can connect also. Everyone can connect it. For educational purpose, no worries. For company purpose, someone will take care, you don't worry about it. Let's say public endpoint. In the public endpoint, you need to, if you want to allow your data factory to connect this particular service, oh my God. It's my bad. You take the source.
You created made 001 dev, I think so.
Okay, let me take it again.
Yeah.
This one made dev, yes. Okay, it was not created because it was, I unfortunately pressed on Control R, it went for refresh.
Okay.
Bhaskar hyphen made 001 hyphen dev. Again, I have to
Bhaskar,
do
if we
this.
create a SQL database and don't use it, Does it charge?
If you disconnect it, it will not charge.
Disconnected means?
I'll tell you. Like if you connect with SQL Server Management Studio, then there is a chances to charge it. Little less, not much more, because you connected with the system.
I just created the database.
For created and all, they don't charge it. You
I
cannot.
just created
it
and the database is still there,
Okay.
but didn't use it anywhere.
Okay. If you have a data, then a little charge will be there. If you don't have a data, that you cannot even recognize there is a charge.
Okay. Okay.
Now I'm just going to take the basic configuration here. So estimated cost per month is 465 around. Okay, so let's say for example you created a database and you're not using, they don't charge 465. If you use for 1 hour, then for 1 hour only they're going to be charged. Okay, so if you're not connected to this particular system, if users are not connected, then its charge is not going to be there. If user is accessing, then it is going to be charged. Let's apply. Up to here we have seen, right? And in the next step, what I wanted to do is I wanted to take the public endpoint. So here I pressed it R, so it went for refresh. Now, if I wanted to allow my data factory to connect my database, you have to connect, right, with the database. Okay, so if you uncheck, if you say this is no, then data factory cannot connect it. You have to allow it. Allow Azure services. Azure Data Factory is one of the Azure data service. Synapse is there and Fabric is there. There are many services are there to connect it, right? So you need to say yes, allow Azure services and resources to access this server. So I'm going to make this switch on and add client IP address. You need to whitelist your IP address to access this server. Otherwise, you cannot access it. You got my point, right? Why we need to switch on them? Both we need to switch on. And rest of them, we just leave it because we are not a database administrators. For practicing with Azure Data Factory, these minimum setups are required. Okay, so first, since we are going to use the SQL Server database first time, okay, so one-time creation it is. I'm not going to remove this database. I'm going to keep this as it is till my sessions are completed. So I'm ready to pay. Okay, so if I go and create an every day, it takes some time. So it kills some effort for sessions. So because of that reason, I'm going to do one-time creation. Okay, let me go to the review plus create. Just hit on create. So for our use case, we required services. I'm just setting up all the services. Then I'll leave it.
And we are not adding the sample database.
No sample. I'm not going to add it.
Okay.
If you add it again for storage, you have to pay. You are not going to use the data, but you have to pay it. So tomorrow's session is very, very important. If you understand tomorrow's session, then next session you can understand. If you understand the next session, then you can understand the followed session, because there is a chain, there is a dependencies are there. So please do not miss the session on tomorrow. On Saturday, I'm not going to take the actual session, but I'm going to clear the doubts if someone is having a connectivity issues or setting up issues. So I'm just going to take that conversation on Saturday. Okay, so that is going to be helpful if anyone is stuck somewhere to practice. So that blockers are going to be cleared on Saturday. So after Saturday, everyone should be with clear to practice it. I'm going to check it, like, everyone should have a subscription. If you don't have a subscription, then you're not eligible for this session. And laptop is required. If you don't have a laptop, then again, it's not required to take this training. Okay, it's a waste of time for you. So please make sure to have a laptop and make sure to have a subscription.
It is having a default subscription. Can we use that?
Yeah, naming anything. I renamed it. Later I renamed it.
Okay.
You can also rename it. Okay, let me show you in other window. So it is deploying. I'm not touching anything. I'm just showing here. Like if you want to rename the subscription, you can rename it. Subscriptions. My new billing cycle is started. So there is a 91. Let me hit on this one. Somewhere you can rename it. Yeah, here you can say rename. You can rename whatever the name you wanted. So maybe for you will be having a default since it is first time you're creating. So later you can rename it if you want.
Okay.
Hello, Bhaskar,
Yeah,
can you hear me?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Bharat.
So what is the time schedule for Saturday?
Time schedule name same time only. Okay, so I may go for little extension also if anyone. It's like a one-to-one. Like whoever is having a doubts, you can spend more time. So I wanted to
you'll
make
be
everyone.
available for the whole
Yeah.
day, right?
I will be available half of the day.
Okay, thank you, Bhaskar.
Okay, I will be available. Okay, so if everyone doubts are clear, then I'm going to drop the session.
Sir, while we working with Azure SQL databases, we should not use the old resource group, sir.
You
Like
can
the
use
day
it.
before
You can use it that also. Okay.
Okay.
You can remove them again, recreate it so that you can have a clear picture, right? Multiple times you're doing.
Okay.
Okay. So doing multiple times, nothing wrong.
Bhaskar, dynamic file, dynamic parameter, dynamic data set, all are same, na?
Dynamic file is nothing but dynamic data set. Okay. And dynamic pipelines, data, basically we don't say that is a dynamic pipeline. We used to say metadata driven pipelines. So that we are going to see.
Dynamic file, that means dynamic data set.
Of course, both are more or less same only.
Okay.
Now your database setup is done. Let's go to resource. Your database is ready for your use case. Please keep in mute. And next is I'm going to set up the resources and I'll wind up the session. Let's go for next services. Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 is required. To create a storage account, you can search for storage accounts. Hit on storage accounts. Plus create. And throughout the sessions, I'm going to use the same storage account. Made 001. Let's take the storage account is Bhaskar ADLS Gen 2 is available. Not available. Let's say here made. It's available. So I'm going to use the same account throughout our sessions. And nearest location is Central India.
Bhaskar, I have one question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so while creating the database, you created one resource group. Now you are using another resource group.
My God. Thank you very much, man. So this is also important. That's what if you have too many resource group, there is a chances to miss it. Basically, you have to choose the right resource group so that run and maintenance will be easy.
Okay.
So I have to clean up my resource groups. Thank you very much. So you have to choose it, right one. I'm there in the right one now. Let's go and choose this blob storage or Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. And I recommend you to take only LRS so that we can reduce little cost. And let's go for next. And here are the people, there are some people are making mistakes here. So you have to make sure to choose this hierarchical namespace checkbox. Then only it is going to be ADLS Gen 2. Otherwise, it is a blob storage account. So blob storage account is not going to have a structure. it will be flattened. When you store the files, all the files are there in the same line. But when you go for ADLS Gen 2, the files are going to be hierarchical structure is going to be available. And
Bhaskar, I have a question here.
Yeah.
Can we change the so unfortunately we created the storage account by unchecking this. Can
okay.
we change the
Yeah, we can.
After-
Only if you have a blob storage account, I'll show you where you can change it. And you
Okay.
can by that click you can change it.
Okay.
You cannot revert it. I mean to say you can go forward, but you cannot go backward. Okay, let's review plus create. Let it create and I'll show you where exactly you can find that property. Let's create it. So I'm showing one by one service.
In real time, we use the blob account or not? Generally,
No, we don't. In my experience, I did not come across it. As a data engineer, 99% you're going to use ADLS Gen 2. Because storage is not only for data engineers, storage is for everyone. Go to resource. So here in the properties, you can see here, there is a data lake storage Gen 2, hierarchical namespace is enabled. You cannot disable it. When you have a blob account, what happens is, for blob account, it will be disabled. And you can have a button, something like this. Okay, so when you hit on it, it will ask you to, do you want to enable it? If you enable it, your blob account will be transformed into ADLS Gen 2. Okay, so here is the option to migrate it. Clear?
Bhaskar, can I share my screen? Could you guide me through?
1 minute, I'll give it. Now your storage account is done. And once that is done, then data factory is also required, right? So you have to create a data factories. Let's search for data factories. And you can find it. I'm just going to create a data factory, a new data factory I'm going to create it. First, take a resource group, write resource group. I'm going to create a data factory name is I'm just giving some naming standard. You can give any name. Let's take a central India because my storage is there in a central India. And processing also I'm going to take in the same region so that network charges will be reduced. So there is only version 1, there is no version there is only version 2, no version 1. Version 1 was deprecated very long ago. You can just simply ignore it. We have only one version, that is version 2. Let's go to next. In the next, it is asking Git repository. So this is too early to talk about Git repository. Okay, so I'll talk about it, how we can create a Git repository. Okay, so better I'll take you through how we can set it up on tomorrow itself so that you can have all the savings at one place. Okay, so the code will be saved in your Git whenever you want it. Even if you remove the data factory, you will be having code in your Git repository. We'll see on tomorrow how we can set it up. Basically, I used to take care about it at the time of yesterday type 1 and type 2 implementations, but I'll take you through on tomorrow itself. Let's review plus create. After creation also, we can integrate with Git repository. Okay, so let me hit on create. It takes not more than 1 minute. Now all the resources are set up. Setup is done. Going forward, I'm going to use the same resource group. My resource group is made 001 dev. So here I have 3 resources. All these 3 resources are there in one resource group. So we'll be having a dev resource group, testing resource group, and prod resource group. So Tomorrow I'm going to show you practically how you're going to read the data from there, and I'm just going to leave them as it is for today. So I'm stopping here. Now, Bharat, do you want to share your screen?
Yeah, Bhaskar.
Okay, so if anyone wants to drop, you can drop. Yeah, Bharat, you can share your screen.
Sir, one question. When do we create Azure SQL and when do we create SQL database in this platform?
See, you can go in any direction. Basically, let's say, for example, I wanted to see all the details of Azure SQL platform, then go with Azure SQL. Or if you know that I wanted to create a SQL Server database, then you can just search directly SQL database. Any direction you can go.
Oh, there is no any difference.
No difference.
Oh, so why it is showing different Azure SQL?
So if you want to see all together at one place, then you can go with Azure SQL. Simple. If you need only single database, then directly can go for SQL databases.
Okay.
But basically, we'll not be creating this, right, in a real time.
Yes.
So whatever
Basically, we are
given
not
us,
going to do.
yeah. Okay.
For practicing, yes, we have to set up. You should know about it.
So that is fine. I have one more question,
Yeah.
Bhaskar. The source, let's say the source is given to us. What about the target? Will we
ADLS.
be, ADLS will be created by us or that
No.
also been?
Every setup will be done by someone else. You are not going to do it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. That is purely related to administrators. Yeah, Bharat,
Yeah, Bhaskar.
what do you want to get here?
Yeah, actually, we are talking about that hierarchical namespace, right? Mine's also disabled.
Oh, okay. So disable, right? There is you just hit on it. Disable is there, right? Hit on it.
Yeah. Okay.
It is going to be converted into ADLS Gen 2. Review and agree the changes. Hit on it. Check the checkbox.
Agree to change.
Yeah, agree to changes.
Start validation.
Yeah.
Find all features that are not supported with Azure Data Lake.
Okay, so maybe you have done something. Okay, so why you wanted to convert it? Why don't you create a brand new?
Actually, I did yesterday. So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, that's not a problem, basically. Okay,
Okay.
so you can do the practice. The only thing is at the time of connecting with the data factory, you have to take a blob account.
Okay.
So since maybe it is a free, is that free trial or paid?
No, actually, it's my friend's account.
Okay.
So it's totally
that's not a problem. Basically, for some reason, it is getting failed. So we need to spend time to dig into that. I think it is a free trial only. Not sure what type of data they kept it inside that storage account. So these are all going to be matters. Okay, so but this is how you're going to upgrade if you want to upgrade.
Okay, so now I can create a new one.
Yeah, you can create a new account.
Okay, while creating, and I have to check the
check the
hierarchy
checkbox.
namespace.
Yes, you have to check the checkbox.
Okay, Bhaskar. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Okay, then I'm stopping here.
Bhaskar.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, sorry.
No problem.
I've gone through the entire creation process. What you have created different accounts.
Okay.
I understood that, but now I am stuck. What nomenclature should we add? So can I share my screen?
Yeah, please share your screen. Share your screen.
Bhaskar, when do you show
Yeah,
my?
you can also share today itself. So you wanted to create a SQL database, right? The subscription is available and resource group is done. Database name. Just give database name as a source to avoid confusion.
Okay, here.
Yeah. Name it as a source.
So you are source.
Yeah. Go to the server, create new. And any name that you can give here. Where do you stay?
I stay in Mumbai.
Okay. Just take a central India. Nearest.
Bhaskar, can I drop off?
Yeah, please. If anyone wants to drop, you can please drop.
Okay.
Thank you. Let's go down and SQL authentication take. Provide your login details. And one more thing, guys, do not practice along with me. That is the request from my side.
Do not.
Practice along with me.
Right.
While session is going on, if you do practice, then that will not help you.
Got it.
Okay. Yeah. Enter now database admin, your name.
Here you have to add something.
Yeah, your name.
Okay.
Let's take your name as an administrator and
That's
enter
all
the
right.
password. Yeah. Confirm it.
Okay.
Hit OK.
So
Let's come little down. There is a development. Check the development.
this is no, it's okay, right?
Not.
Okay,
Yeah, that's fine. Leave it. And configure database.
Configure database.
Take a basic pricing tier. Apply. Let's go next.
Next, networking.
Yeah. And check public endpoint. Switch on that 2 buttons.
Yes.
And review plus create. Just leave everything default.
That's all.
Yeah, that's all. Review plus create. Review plus
Next.
create. There is a review plus create in the left side, in the bottom.
Left side bottom here, review and create.
Yes. Hit on it.
Again, create.
Yes, create. Okay, so it will be created. Kushlesh, do you want to share your screen?
So this is what database is created, right?
Yes, yes. This
Now
is
that
how
the
database will be created.
Two
Rest
more
of
to
the
your...
Yeah, rest of the services you can do. You can go through the recording and do it.
Okay, got it.
Okay, you got my point, right?
Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Kushlesh, do you want to share your screen? Are you there?
Hello, Bhaskar.
Yeah.
Yeah, so is my screen is visible?
Is this
on
your
the chat.
screen?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Oh,
Hey,
yep.
Kushlesh,
Yeah.
your account has been locked.
Okay, so why it has been locked? Service level, Microsoft service level agreement. Say next what it is saying. So when did you create this account? Will it not allowing to create? Enter your mobile number. Let's unlock. So why don't you create a new account, Kushlesh?
For connecting for Azure platform, because I have a credit card. But already I have set up all these things, even
Okay.
credit card
Try.
details
Yeah.
already I have given.
Yeah. Try. This is dangerous.
I think this is correct.
I'm very poor in this. Next.
Yes, just
Next.
this one. This one.
Yeah.
Submit. Yeah. This one.
Yeah. Submit. Enter the code from the mobile.
Right. Yes, Microsoft account 1453. I have done this, but yeah, your account has been unblocked.
Please review your recent. Okay, password. Just try. So what they're doing is, if you're like
Well, let's protect your account. This kind of
yeah, give an alternative email.
my existing email.
Yeah, any existing mail you can give.
Yeah, phone number.
Yeah, phone number you can take. Phone number you can take.
Same number can I give?
Yeah, same number you can. Or alternative number also can give. They're asking alternative number, right?
But
Or same number also fine.
yes, sir. Okay, it is successful. So how many code is asking? It's okay. Then I subscription I type na. Yes,
Yeah,
subscription.
take that subscription.
Yeah, this kind of message is coming. Interaction required because this total step actually I have done from
Okay, so that is fine. Like there is a, can you go to home?
home.
Close this one. Home. There is a portal menu.
No,
not sign in again.
again it is coming actually.
No, not sign in again. You're having too many accounts. Because of that reason, maybe they blocked it. Ignore it. Ignore. Say ignore.
I ignore, but again it come.
That's fine. Okay. You have to go to the home. There is a support. You have to connect with the Microsoft team.
Oh, I don't know how to.
Yeah, there is a support is there. I will do one thing tomorrow. I will be available full time. I'll work from home tomorrow.
Okay.
So we'll connect and we'll see how we can sort it out.
Yeah, it's better to
We
create.
have to. Yeah. Otherwise, you have to go with a different account. Create with Hotmail instead of going with this one.
Tomorrow you are available.
Yeah, tomorrow will be available. We'll connect together and we'll do it.
Yeah, from a starting to ending.
Yeah, that is fine.
Just me. Yeah. Okay.
Okay then. Okay,
sir,
guys.
Sir, one small doubt, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, could I share my screen?
Yes, you can share.
I'm dropping off.
Yeah, you can drop.
Sir, could you able to see my screen?
Yeah,
sir?
I'm able to see.
Yes, sir. Yesterday I tried to create this specific file, sir.
Okay.
And in input directory, I uploaded this file. This is a list of files.
Okay.
When I run the pipeline, I'm not able to see in the output directory, sir.
Okay, so can you go to your what is your output directory? Okay, just remove all the files from here. Okay, now go to the data factory. Run the pipeline. There is a pipeline. Pipeline, specific files. Yeah,
yes,
open it. Now debug it. There is a debug. Hit on it.
It's not happening, sir.
Okay, do you have a copy activity inside that?
Yes, sir.
Where is that?
Or else could I create new one, sir?
No. If you take it now, it will take time. Okay, so what you have to do is when you are testing, you have to remove everything in the output. Then you have to run it. So otherwise, that will be the mistake. That's what I'm saying, because it is going to override If you want to override, then you have to see the date. Or better, I always recommend remove the output first.
Okay,
Then
sir.
do the testing.
Okay, sir. I'll try, sir.
Okay.
Tomorrow I'll
Yeah,
update, sir.
you try, and if not, I'll help you on tomorrow.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no worries. We'll see you on tomorrow. Thank you for
Sure, sir.
joining.